Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be reviewing tips for replacing the camshaft position sensor on this 2003 LS430. Now let's get started. So you might ask, what are some of the symptoms of a faulty camshaft position sensor? Well, you could have rough idle, hard starts, stalling of the vehicle, possible backfiring, especially when you first start the vehicle up when it's cold. It's a kind of a bumping, rough sound. And of course, the never failing engine light. And if you have an engine light, you're gonna have a P code P1340 or P1341. Okay? So those are your symptoms. Now let's move on to our supply list. If you're going to replace the camshaft position sensor, please go ahead and obtain one of those from online sources or local auto parts store. Also, you're going to need a 10mm socket with a small ratchet, possibly a flat tip screwdriver, needle nose, fine nose pliers, and other items found in the description below. Please note, for this video, I'm simply going to provide an overview of tips. In the description below, I provide links to 2 PDF files that provide very simple and easy step-by-step instructions so that you can complete this job yourself. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, let's go ahead and identify the location of the sensor. First thing we're going to do is remove this V cover. So there's a 10mm bolt here and here. Remove those. Set the cover off to the side. And so the location of the sensor is going to be right here under this cover. And I'm going to talk about that right now. The first step you're going to do before you remove any of the bolts is you're going to have to drain the radiator, and you have to drain the radiator to a point to where the fluid level is below the end of this hose. So that's probably going to be a good 10 inches below this point right here. I'm just going to estimate that. Yeah, that's not quite 12, but you could use 12 to be safe, but it needs to be about 12 inches below this location right here. So if you took off the radiator cap and looked down into the radiator, you shouldn't see any fluid. And so you're going to drain about half gallon, maybe even a gallon of fluid, as long as the level is below this point right here. Okay? Let me show you a quick tip. So in order to drain the fluid, you're going to come in here, and I'm going to show you the location of the drain port. And you can see it right there in the back of your picture, but it's going to be right there at the end of my, it's the shroud of the corner of the shroud of that fan is blocking it. I'm going to try to zoom in and see if I could see it. It's white and you could barely see it, but it's right under this right here. Right behind it, just can't see it. Okay, turn that valve. It's a plastic valve, and the radiator fluid will drain out. But of course, before you do that, you're going to have to put your bucket in place to capture the fluid, and you should be able to reuse it. And so there's your little drain tube right there under the car, and then there's your bucket. Okay, pretty straightforward. Like I said, you should be able to reuse the antifreeze, no problem. Okay, moving on here. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna zoom back out. There's about 4 bolts holding on the cover. There's 1 bolt right there in the center of your screen. I'm gonna try to zoom in. Right there in the center of your screen. Right there, that 12mm bolt. You're gonna have to loosen that bolt up, and you're gonna have to disconnect that connector right there, okay? Zooming out a little bit to the left, it's a little bit harder to see, is there is a grommet. Now you see the right there, there's a grommet that can be removed that allows the wires from the sensor to come through the cover and out to the gray connector that I just showed you. So you're going to have to remove that grommet so that you can pull the connector through the cover. All right, I think those are the main items I wanted to show you. At this point, please refer to the instructions for the linked files in the description below, and I have a high level of confidence that you guys can complete this repair by yourself, and I look forward to hearing your results. I hope you guys enjoyed my tips. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, drive defensively.